What is up, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Cage UFC 305 recap. You have to take it away because I don't got much. I don't got much energy to talk about 305 here.
It's a sad episode all around, man. If y'all tuned into the Contender series, we're sad over there too. We're sad about UFC 305. But one thing I will say, just to bring it to a little bit more positive note, that was one of the best title fights I've seen in a very long time. I was scrolling through previous title fights. That's the best one I've seen. You could argue, but it's the best one, in my opinion, I've seen since Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski won, which was about 2 years ago now, I believe. There were some good ones in there. I was thinking Moreno Pantoja was up there, Adesanya Pereira too. But dude, just the back and forthness of this fight, and I was like, it was suspenseful the whole time. I was on my toes because you felt like something crazy could happen at any time. Dricus scares you like that, and then Izzy was winning for the most part. But I mean, just
did you ever? I was kind of waiting for someone to post it. I didn't see it at all. Did anyone post the scorecard? Was Izzy winning the fight?
I believe Dricus was up 2-1. I was gonna put that in here, but I believe judges had Dricus up. Let me double check on that. We'll keep talking about that, and I'll have that for us in a couple minutes.
Because as much as obviously I was going for Izzy, I didn't see it like that. I thought Izzy was winning, man.
I mean, I thought Izzy was landing more. The body shots, dude, when he would rip to the body, it was hurting Dricus. And those uppercuts, those were hurting Dricus. But then Dricus, dude, he's a brute. He'll just walk through. He'll walk through a shot and throw an ugly shot back. I think Dana White, he said tonight in the post-fight for the Dana White Contender series on his press conference, he said, Dricus fights like a white guy dances. And that's just, it's so true. It does not look pretty at all. But man, he's effective, dude. He finds a way to win, and he smells blood, and he capitalizes on the moment so well. I thought Izzy won the first and third. I thought Dricus might have had the second just because he hurt. There was a moment where he really hurt Izzy in that round, and then in that fourth round, Izzy was winning up until the last 30, 45 seconds before the finish happened. I mean, one of my friends was telling me, he said, fighting Alex Pereira multiple times just changes your career, and you don't have the same chin after that, because you remember the Adesanya Gastelum fight, and they were trading for a long time in that fight, and Izzy was able to eat those shots, but you could tell Dricus's punches were affecting him. It
was almost like he was running away before the punches even came.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't know. He looked a step slow. He looked for Strickland. That was the first time watching an Izzy fight where I was like scared. Like, bro, he's going to get knocked out. Like, he's going to get finished. Like, obviously Alex Pereira fights, yes, but like still confident in those. That was still Izzy's prime, but like that, it was hard to watch. And I still felt like he was winning.
Yeah. It just felt like he was more vulnerable. Like, he would win the decision, but if it was going to be a finish, Dricus was more likely to get it.
Like, I never had to worry about like him getting finished or then Pereira, or like him like getting touched, and it just felt like he was so vulnerable to being touched this whole fight. Like, it felt like you're trying to get through the fight. Like, all right, we survived it. Let's go next round. We survived it. Let's win this round. Like, it just didn't feel right.
Do you think that's more of the Dricus effect, or do you think it's just Izzy's age and the MMA game kind of just catching up to him?
Yeah, because I mean, we talked about it before, man. If you do this fight before the Pereira fights, he's a big favorite. So I think just everything, man. Like, excuse me. Everything, like, I think it's just those two Pereira fights took a lot out of him. And you look at it, man, like looking back at it now and kind of just like thinking everything back, like he wasn't winning that Pereira fight before he knocked him out. So when was the last time he really won consecutive rounds or like strung together a bunch of rounds, you know?
Probably
So
that first Pereira fight up until he got finished.
yeah,
Because he
yeah,
was winning that one. And then it all
yeah,
changed with that left hook. And we've
yeah,
got to give credit to Dricus, man. I mean, when you look
yeah.
at his wins in the last couple of years, I'm gonna just read these off real quick. So Israel Adesanya, 5-round decision, went 5 rounds with him. Sean Strickland went 5 rounds. Finished Robert Whitaker in the second. Finished Derek Brunson in the second. Submitted Darren Till and beat Brad Tavares by decision. And that's in the last 2-3 years. So Dricus has been on a tear. And what's crazy is he is the first guy to successfully defend the middleweight title since Israel Adesanya did it at UFC 276 against Jared Cannonier, which was in 2022. So over 2 years ago, we've had, I believe, 4 different champions since then. I think the belts changed hands maybe 5 times. So I don't know if we'll see Dricus bring stability to the middleweight division, but we all know Sean Strickland's next. So we'll flip a page, kind of get away from this sore subject for you. How do you see this fight between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis going?
Man, I just think that the old tale's true, man. Like once you get that belt, you're just so much better. Um, ever since Drinkus has had that belt, I mean, this is obviously his first defense, but it feels like he was more confident in there. He's like, knows what it takes to win. And obviously he took Sean's belt, and I don't see him giving it up to Sean. I don't see that. I think I'm going to be all over Drinkus here. I think that he's just unorthodox, man. There's nothing you can do. And for someone who's Sean, who's kind of unorthodox too, I think that you mix in Drinkus' wrestling ability, he's a tough out, man. He can take a punch. I don't think Sean Strickland has great power. I don't think he's going to hurt Drinkus with anything. And I just think Drinkus just doesn't go away, man. He doesn't go away. So you have to fight almost a perfect fight, man, because he's in it till the very end. And don't get me wrong, I think Sean can do that. Sean's fought a great fight against Izzy, close fight against Dricus, but I just think this win means a lot for Dricus, and it puts him above another level.
Yeah, it almost feels like someone's gonna have to have something special to get Dricus out of there, because it's hard to beat him in a decision. He just closes that space on you. Even if you hit him, he's not really gonna show it, and he's gonna come back and hit you, and it's gonna hurt, or he might take you down. And his ground and pound is nasty. And that submission, it was just kind of an opportunity thing. He saw the opportunity and he took it in a heartbeat's notice. So, yeah, Dricus definitely has that killer instinct. Did you see Alex Pereira's Instagram post? It was hard to tell if he was trolling or not, but he said it was probably 5 to 10 minutes after the fight. He posted on his Instagram just a picture of him in front of the TV with Dricus doing his interview. He said, "I'm going back down to 185 one last time." I mean, it's hard to tell if he's joking or not, but it's hard to doubt that guy.
Yeah, I don't see a point now. I don't see how it adds up. I mean, maybe if obviously Pereira beats Roundtree and Dricus beats Strickland, the timeline adds up. But then I think at that point, if you still don't want to give it to Ankalaev, then yes, I think you do Pereira and Dricus at 85. But I mean, I think if that's what Pereira wanted, he should have waited to agree to the Roundtree fight. And I think if he doesn't take the Roundtree fight and he calls out Dricus, I think he has a possibility there, considering he's already knocked out Sean Strickland.
Yeah. I mean, I would take Pereira against Dricus if he can make that weight. But
yeah,
I mean,
he fucking can make anyway, bro. He's superhero.
And it's crazy. He's the same age as John Jones. And when you think of
Yeah.
Pereira and John Jones, you don't think of them at the same point in their careers in terms of age. It's just wild.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll move on to the co-main event. Kai Kara France. We both did not predict him to win this fight, but he sure did. Man, that was an impressive one. He just took it to Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg never really looked like he was in the fight. He was kind of a level of Kai was a level above him the whole time. Knocked him out with I think was it a left hook that finished it? It was a sequence of punches. He was kind of putting it on him for a while. But man, that was impressive. What was your take on that fight?
Special performance. Back against the wall. Knew it was kind of his last shot to get back in the title picture and come out and get a knockout in front of your home crowd. That's special, especially to do it in the first round versus someone who just got a title shot, who's like obviously everyone felt was still going to get a title shot coming up. He was going to be back in the title picture, and he just steamrolled him, showed him there's levels to this. And man, I'm all back. I know I didn't pick him to win, man, but I'm back on the Kai Kara train. I love Kai Kara France. It was hard for me to pick a winner here. I wasn't really going to be mad at whoever won. I like both these guys, but money told me Urseg, but I really deep down I wanted it to be Kai Kara France. I love Kai Kara France, love CKB, so I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see Kai Kara hopefully get a title eliminator.
Hell yeah! I mean, he was calling for more than that. Personally, I don't really think he doesn't have more of an argument for the belt than Tatsuro Taira does right now. So, I mean, I think it's only fair to put them two in a title eliminator, but then at the same time, Pantoja has to fight somebody. I've been saying Kai Akasura or Asakura from either Ryzen or ONE FC, but I mean, he doesn't deserve it more than Kai or Tyra. So why should one of them
that guy? Maybe that guy gets the guy that UFC doesn't pick.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe the UFC makes a tough decision between Tyra, Kai Kara France, and then Asakura fights the other one and then title eliminator. You think that's better?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick, man, I go Kai Kara. I know he's had his shot. I understand all of that, but the way he just beat Urseg, that has to mean something. He didn't grind a split decision. He came out here and knocked him out in the first round.
Tyra does, I'm a Tyra guy, so I got to argue for him. Tyra does have a fight against Brendan Royval coming up, and Royval fought Pantoja pretty similar to Steve Urseg. So what if Tyra goes out and does a similar thing to Brandon Royval? What happens then?
Yeah, man. I want to see it beat Kai Kara. I think he deserves another shot, especially after this big win. I think he's ready, man. You got to give it to him now. You can't wait. If that's what the UFC wants. I think Tatsuro Taira is always going to be there. Not always, but he has a long more.
He's 24 years old, so he has a lot more time. Yeah.
You don't want to rush it. Kai Kara's ready right now, and he has a small window left. So let him see if he can be the champion for a year or two.
I like that. And I mean, yes, if you look at his topology, it's only one win, but he beat Askarov. If you watch that fight, if anyone hasn't seen it, go watch it back. Kai Kara France beat Askarov on that night. I believe it was 2 summers ago. That was one of the worst decisions or it might have been last summer, but it was a terrible decision. So I'm going to say Kai Kara's on a 2-fight win streak right now. I'm not going to count those judges.
No, he lost to Amir Albazi.
Albazi, I meant Albazi. Yeah, but that was the one that was the terror. I mixed those flyweights up. But yeah, it was a terrible decision on that one. Thanks for checking me there. We got to be getting it right. Can't be saying stuff like that. And how about another CKB victory? Dan the Hangman Hooker. This was my favorite fight of the night.
Big win, bro. That was a huge win.
Takes out Mateusz Gamrot. It was really, really close. That
was a true split decision.
Your words rang through my head where this fight was so close that you can't be mad at it. You can't be mad either way. Like, no one clearly won it. No one clearly lost it. Gamrot had the control time. If you look on paper, they landed the same amount of strikes, but when they were on the feet, Dan Hooker was pushing Gamrot back and he was hurting Gamrot. I think he dropped him. He definitely dropped him in the second round, and he stumbled him up against the cage in the third. I don't know if they counted it as a knockdown or not. But, man, how about the resurgence from Dan Hooker? Blonde Dan Hooker. A lot of people are drawing the blonde Oliveira comps. Moves up from 145, even if it was only for one fight. But he's up to 155 on a 3-fight win streak. Bleaches the hair, gets a bunch of tattoos, couple crazy wins, and now he's number 5 in the lightweight division.
It's set in stone, right? I mean, it's Oliveira and Dan Hooker.
I also heard Dan Hooker say Justin Gaethje's name.
I like
Because
Oliveira.
before Gaethje lost to Max, he was the clear guy for that title shot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no difference to me personally. I think Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje is equally as exciting as Hooker versus Oliveira. You know how that lightweight division is. Dude.
Yeah, but I think that, I mean, we obviously believe that Oliveira is kind of the next guy up.
I don't know. I mean, he's coming off the loss for Saryukian.
Saryukian, right?
It's a tough one. I think they got to fight for it. Him and Gaethje are both coming off of losses from good guys, but Hooker's coming off a win. So I mean, he's trending up. And then, I don't know. I think they got to fight for that.
I like Oliveira and Dan Hooker title eliminator, baby. That's a huge fight.
The only tough part is that Islam's hurt. So he's going to be out for a while. They still haven't ruled out an interim belt for 155. Chances are they would have announced it by now, so it's probably not going to happen. But it might be spring of 2025 or early 2025 before we see the lightweight title on the line again. So, I mean, there is time to get this figured out. So, I mean, yeah, Hooker Oliveira, that is what Hunter Campbell said to Hooker after the fight, apparently. So if I had to put my money on it, that's what it's going to be. But I'd be happy with Justin Gaethje as well, I've got to say.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of just like, and I understand Gaethje's had just as much shots as like Oliveira has, but like I'm kind of just over the Gaethje for a title fight at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he lost to Khabib, right? And that was it. He lost to Khabib right after his dad died, so that was Khabib on his retirement fight, still in his prime. I think anyone loses to Khabib that night. Do I think he beats Islam? Probably not. Dude, it's just UFC 300 really changed everything. And you listen to Gaethje's interviews before UFC 300, he was talking like he had the title shot in the bank. He was overlooking Max. We talked about that. Everyone was overlooking Max. And look at it now, man. Best sport in the world. Anything can happen. Man, yeah. I love this shit. I love this shit, dude.
Yeah. Dan Hooker's why we fucking love UFC, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Broken arm versus Jalen Turner, goes out and wins the fight. And I've got to say one more thing on his fight versus Gamrot. His takedown defense was incredible. I was so impressed with it. If you go watch his fight versus Islam 2 or 3 years ago, he was a ragdoll. And Gamrot's he's not on Islam's level, but he's still an elite grappler.
Yeah.
In the UFC.
10. He stuffed 10 takedowns. And I knew it early. When he was stuffing them early, I was like, oh, we have a chance. Like, this is kind of how I knew the fight was going to go, man. Like, somehow, some way, Dan's going to find a way to get it done.
And remember, dude, in that interview, he talked about when Gamrot was squeezing every time, right when they separated, Dan wanted to put it on him right away. And you could tell he was doing that. So, man, Dan Hooker is one of my favorite fighters to watch. I mean,
yeah,
he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter, like we always say. And then
Jairzinho beats Tai Tuivasa, split decision. Weird fight there. Unexpected outcome. Anything on that one?
I'd say the split decision is the weirdest part of it all. I mean, Jairzinho won pretty clearly. Let me get the striking numbers up, but it was pretty undeniable that Rosenstruck won. And then there was one judge that scored the fight 30-27 for Bam Bam. And it was so bad that what the UFC did, this judge was supposed to judge the co-main event between Urseg and Kai Kara, and they took him off. Because they were like, we cannot have this guy judging another fight. Because even they were like, they're tripping. What is this guy doing? Yeah. So, the striking numbers. Rosenstruck landed 92. Tuivasa landed 37. No control time. And a judge gave it to Tuivasa 30-27. And it's not like there was a knockdown or any big shots landed in the fight if you didn't watch it. So this was
someone gave it 30. Someone gave it 30-27 Ty, and someone gave it 30-27 Jairzinho.
Terrible. There was a poll going on. They said which scorecard was the worst. This one right here. The Cheeto versus Corey one, or the I can't remember the other one, but it was another really bad one like that. I should have written it down. That's on me.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird fight there. Definitely not a split decision. Jorginho won that unanimously, I think. I've been waiting to ask you this all day. I want to hear your name for Carlos Prates.
So I got it, dude. I was getting ahead of myself. I can't lie. Carlos Prates is special. 4 knockouts in basically 1 year. He had 1 in the Contender Series, 3 knockouts in the UFC since he made his debut in February. So 3 UFC knockouts in basically 6 or 7 months. Forgive my math. But this guy looks to be special. And he's a Babe Ruth type athlete because he smokes cigs post-fight. That is some 20th century type shit, bro. You don't see that in these modern day athletes. You would never see Suge smoking a cig after a fight. But Carlos Prates, just that old school type of fighter. So I was jumping the gun on my first name I wrote down. I looked at the rankings and I thought, how insane would MVP be?
Yep.
Just a crazy fight. It's a win-win for both of them because Prates has enough hype at this point to where if MVP beats him, it's a good one. And I feel like for MVP, anyone that's going to strike with him, he's going to take that fight, even if it's not a giant name. It's a huge step down for MVP, so it's asking a lot. But yeah. I mean, with how exciting of a guy Prates is, I think enough fans realize like how good of a win that would be for MVP, and then it's a no-brainer for Prates. And then it probably won't be MVP. I'm not saying that's my prediction. So another couple more realistic ones I had was Uros Medic, Jake Matthews, or Randy Brown. Someone kind of not right outside.
I have an interesting one. It could be maybe the timeline won't add up, but Stephen Thompson and Joaquin Buckley loser.
I would like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Prates wants to wait that long is the only thing, but I like that fight for him.
Yeah.
Either guy. Especially because anyone coming off a loss, especially like not a title eliminator, should be looking to fight Prates. Maybe
I wish they wouldn't have booked Holland so fast. Him versus Holland would have been a good one.
Yeah. That would have been a good one. Dude, but yeah, Carlos Prates knocked out the Leech in the second round. Just put on a clinic. Like he's put on a clinic in every single fight so far, dude.
Yeah.
He's one of them next generation strikers that I would talk about back around the UFC 298 time. I don't like to bring up the names or anything like that, but if you know, you know. Man. Dude, one of the best main cards in a long time, no?
Really good night.
Special. When it's in Perth, it's always special. That blue arena, man. The last time they were there was Volka Islam 1.
Yeah.
That was when Jack Dalo walked out to TNT and the whole crowd was singing along, and then he knocked out Randy Brown.
Yeah.
That was an elite night. I love that arena. Shout out to Western Australia. Shout out to Australia as a whole, man. Just I want to get out there one day. Besides the spiders, seems like an electric place to be.
Yeah, definitely looks cool. Great car, man. Super fun night. Obviously, didn't turn out how I wanted to in the end, but it was a great night. And one of those we needed this pay-per-view card. It's been a few months.
And I guess I didn't ask you. Do you have a name for Izzy next?
I mean, who? I don't want to see Izzy fight in like a 3-round co-main event, bro.
They'll give him. I think he's on Nate Diaz territory, where if he wants a 5-rounder, he gets a 5-rounder.
Yeah, but it's just who? He's fought so many people in that division.
I have a name, but something has to happen, which I think it will.
Okay.
If Robert Whittaker beats Khamzat Chimaev, you make that fight. Izzy versus Khamzat Chimaev.
For what though? Just
Money,
'cause?
a guy they haven't fought. For Hamzat, that'll be a last chance. Because if he loses to Whitaker and then loses to Izzy at this stage, people aren't going to take him that serious at the middleweight division. And then if Izzy were to go out there and put on a masterclass versus Hamzat, maybe he's one win away from another title shot if that's what he wants.
I just don't see
And
it,
either way, it sells a lot. That's a fight that people have been talking about for the last 3-4 years. So there's a lot of fans that
I
would
just
be
don't
really
think it's
excited
that
to see
exciting
that.
anymore, bro.
I
Maybe I'm
am.
being maybe I'm being too hard on it. Maybe it's like a little recency bias, but I have to feel like he's not the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's everyone. You got to look at Anderson Silva. I'm sure no one expected Anderson Silva to go out losing like 8 of his last 9 fights or whatever it is. I might be being a little generous. So I hope we don't see something like that with Izzy, but I feel like with those guys that are so good at one point, it's hard for them to realize that they can't beat the top guys anymore. So they just keep signing the dotted line, like Tony, like to a certain extent, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see. Another sad one. It's not like we even get to say, usually I'd be like, oh, we get to flip the page, get on a brighter note here, but we don't, man. The Contender Series week 2. The first fight was actually really good. I was excited about this one. So Cody Haddon versus what was his name? Billy Brand. Billy Brand. I was about to say Billy Bean, RIP. But
not Moneyball Billy Bean, by the way.
Yeah. Oh wait, it wasn't him that died?
No.
Oh shit. I've been thinking it was Moneyball Billy Bean that died.
No, it wasn't.
Oh shit. All right. I'll still say RIP, but yeah, I guess can't take that one back. Yeah, so Haddon looked really good, dude. The shot that he dropped Brand with, that left hook, it reminded me of Topuria. The way that he just kind of dropped down, slipped under a punch, and just landed that thing. No wind up or anything. Super compact. He's a guy, bro. 25 years old at bantamweight. I like that he's 25. I said it before we got on the air, but he's young enough to where we can fully invest in him, and he probably won't fight Sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm fully on the Cody Haddon train.
Yeah, he looked good. I knew going into this fight, this can be one of the best fights of the night. 2 really good guys. Cody Haddon is actually his only loss is to Steve Erceg. So I knew there was something there, and he fought it close. I think Erceg won by decision, but yeah, it was close.
And then wasn't Billy Brand's only loss to Peyton Talbot?
Yeah.
Dang, yeah, they kind of missed on that one. I know they brought up Steve Erceg, but I don't know if they brought up Talbot.
Yeah, it was his only loss prior to tonight.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't be surprised.
Man, I would love to see both those dudes in the UFC, man. I wish they wouldn't have to fight each other, but
it's not like losing the Contender Series is the complete end of your chances either, because there are times where we see those guys get the call on short notice, win a fight, and then get a chance in the UFC, or even just lose a fight but fight well and then get another fight. So it's not the end of the road yet. And on that first fight, Dana White, he actually said that Sean Shelby was hyping him up for this one. He said Sean Shelby is so grouchy. He never hyped anyone up for anything, and he was hyped about Cody Haddon versus Billy Brand. So, yeah, don't be surprised if we see Billy Brand around again.
Yeah.
I don't even. So, if you guys tuned in last week to our interview with Cam, the Battle Draft Rousen, super cool dude out of City Kickboxing, fought on the Contender Series tonight versus Therese Fanny. Unfortunately, Cam did not get the job done. Finney just out wrestled him. I would say it was even on the feet. Cam was honestly threatening from the bottom. There were a few times where I thought he was gonna get the submission, and then Finney was gassed in that third round. But Cam just didn't have enough time on the feet. He got up with maybe 30 seconds left, and he put it on. Maybe less than 30 seconds. Honestly, it might have been like closer to 10. But he put it on Finney for those last 10 seconds, but it just wasn't enough time, dude. It sucks. But hopefully we could see Cam get back in the Contender Series or a short notice fight next time the UFC is over in Australia. It seems like they go there once or twice a year. So we'll still be pulling for the battle draft. Hopefully he'll want to come back on our show again.
Yes,
Fought
sir.
well.
Always a
Was
fan.
fighting until the end too, man. And Finney did not get the contract either. You see Dana cook him?
Yeah. He only fought once since the Contender Series last time.
He said, I told you to go out and get more experience. And you fight one time. You're 25 years old. You're supposed to fight 3 or 4 times. And
Yeah.
he said, you looked worse than you did last year.
Yeah.
And Dana was on one tonight. He was being a
Yeah.
comedian. Next fight of the night, it was solid, but kind of a weird Contender Series fight. It was another bantamweight bout between Cortavius Romanis and Michael Imparto. And don't get me wrong, Cortavius, he's a freak athlete. Like, probably could have been an NFL DB. I don't know. He looked stupidly athletic out there, but he is not very technical. He won by decision. He got knocked out last year on the Contender Series. Dana he decided to give him the contract, but it was honestly just because he's such a freak athlete. He basically is like, you're not that good yet, but you got so much potential. I'm going to see you go to a good gym.
Yeah.
So I believe he's a little bit too old to be a title contender at bantamweight, just because, like we always say, your youth is very important at that division. I mean, he's older than Sugar Sean. So maybe I think he could be a top 10 guy. But I think by the time he gets his skills honed in, his speed will have left him a little bit due to father time, which kind of sucks to say.
Yeah.
But Cortavius,
in those lighter divisions, you got to be younger.
Yeah. Like, we'll talk about it later, but there's another guy that's older than him in a higher division that I don't feel the same way about at all. But yeah, Cortavius Romas got the contract. I think he'll have a lot of fun fights. He'll probably get a lot of 50 grand bonuses in the UFC too if he can get dialed in. If you're listening, I recommend you go to Extreme Couture. That's a place where you can get your skills absolutely dialed in. Or if Coach Tim sees something in you, yeah, obviously that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then next fight was the heavyweights. We had a Dagestani, Rizvan Kuniev. He fought last year on the Contender Series. Not a very exciting win, so he didn't get the contract, but he came back this year, got the first round finish with 1 second left in the first round. It was methodical. It was like serial killer-like. He never looked rushed or anything.
You just knew it was coming.
Yeah. I think he's a problem for a lot of heavyweights right off the bat.
Yeah.
We always talk about it. Those heavyweights, they're not like, a lot of the heavyweights aren't the most extremely skilled fighters in the world, but this guy is, I'm not going to say extremely skilled, but very skilled.
Is Andres Gustafsson any relation to Alexander Gustafsson?
I believe he's his brother. I was trying to look it up, and it was kind of hard to find, but he has to be. They're Swedish, and then I looked it up, and I would say 99.9% brothers. Okay,
yeah, he looked good.
Dude, yeah. Kind of similar to Kuniev, or Kuniev. I'm going to learn that. Not rushed or anything. I'm going to quote Dana, just like clinching in the middle of the octagon. It's all he wanted to do, but he stuck to his game plan, and you couldn't deny it at the end of the day. He hurt him, got the finish, and he's in the UFC. He is, do you have his age? I can find it if not.
Gustafsson?
Yeah.
He is 33.
I don't love that at welterweight.
Yeah.
Why can't we get the Viper on here, man?
I know.
They don't know. They don't know like we know.
Yeah, Viper's a guy.
Facts. But this week wasn't, honestly, no one. I think last week was better for the Contender Series. I think Kavanaugh is still my number one overall prospect from the two shows. And I might slot Haddon in at 2. Do you put him over what was the guy's name that landed the knee last week?
Oh, that was
I got you. Delgado. Jose Delgado
yeah.
at featherweight.
I liked Delgado just the way that he won. Um, yeah, I'd probably say Delgado. He looks just a little bit more well-rounded. He looked a little bit like tougher. I want to say he had a short notice too.
He was, yeah, he was 11 days.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
I mean that's impressive.
All right, so right now for our 2-week Dana White Contender Series power rankings, would you agree Loner Kavanaugh number 1, the flyweight from the first fight of the show?
Yeah,
And then we go Delgado number 2.
yeah,
And then you like Haddon at 3?
yep,
And then I was thinking for number 4, we go the main event of week 1. Let me find his name real quick. I don't want to butcher it. I'm going to read it. Mansour Abdul Malik. Just
yeah.
wrestle dominated. I like
those
him at
rankings.
number 4. And then number 5, I'd go Kuniev.
Yeah,
6, Gustafson. And then 7, I'll go.
Bruno Lopez was a good week 1.
Yeah, that was a dogfight. Dana just kind of
Yeah.
bagged on him because of his age, but I liked Lopez too.
Yeah,
I might put him above. I might put him above Gustafson.
yeah.
Yeah, so far we have 8 contracts out of 10 winners. So pretty good.
Yeah.
The only 2 that didn't get it were Torres Finney and Rami Hamed.
Can't believe we got more weeks of this, man.
And then hopefully we got Shannon on next week or this week. Could be
and
tomorrow.
then there was talk of Dana White's press conference. For anyone that's watching, go back and watch the press conference today. It's pretty good. They might take the show on the road.
Dude, I'm so for that.
My only pushback is this. Why are we in such a hurry and like going on the road for 10 weeks? Now, I understand. It's like kind of like a tour, like a 10-week tour. Like I'm for that. But can we get the fight nights out of the Apex before we do anything?
Okay, that's fair.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I understand it's different. You can just go out of town, grind for 10 weeks. But the fight nights, man, we got to get them out of the Apex, dude.
That is an extremely fair point. If you can think that you could fill an arena with guys that aren't signed to the UFC yet and you don't even know about, why can't you do it with guys that are in the UFC and ranked guys?
I understand, like, it's comfortable. They got comfortable being in the Apex. But, like, going out of town for 10 weeks is a lot. It's more work than you've had to do ever because you've never gone out of town for the Contender Series.
Yeah.
And even, like, let's say, like, I don't know, let's say we move the Contender Series to a Thursday or maybe even a Friday, and you do it in that fight night arena that you're having the fight night on that weekend.
So like a 2-day pass?
Yeah.
You're cooking.
I mean, even then, you can keep it on Tuesday. Maybe move it back one day to Wednesday because you don't want to mess with the press. You don't want to mess with the press conference and all that stuff. But I think, let's say you're fighting in Louisville, fight night Saturday. Let's do the Contender Series there on Wednesday.
Oh my gosh. Dana White, Hunter Campbell, if you're listening, take notes on that right there. Wow.
Just give me some free tickets. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much.
Hello. Dude, I didn't even think of that, but that is big brained right there. You could even do it. You could do it like after the weigh-ins or something like that too.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
even same city, smaller arena, like kind of how, I don't know, you have obviously Crypto Arena, but then next to it you have the convention center. You kind of do it something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm for that, but I would just much rather see these fight nights move out of the Apex too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would much rather see the fight nights not in the Apex than see the Contender Series not in the Apex.
And I understand it. Like, if you do Contender Series at a different place, you kill two birds with one stone. Like, you go to LA one week, then you're in Seattle on Saturday, so you get different places. But yeah, I mean I think that's the kind of way to move the fight nights out of the Apex as well. You can't have 10 straight weeks of Contender Series out of the Apex when you still have fight nights in the Apex. So we're gonna go from Contender Series being on the road on Tuesday to the Apex on Saturday for a UFC fight night. Come on, man.
Always digging deeper into it. I
Come
love
on,
it.
man.
I love it. All right, should we get on to UFC 307? We woke up with this news it was Friday morning that Alex Boatan Pereira would be headlining in Salt Lake City against Khalil Roundtree Jr. Kind of out of left field here for the light heavyweight championship of the world. What was your take when you saw this immediately?
I think he had a argument to be next. Didn't like how obviously he pulled out of didn't pull out, got suspended for doping. So I could see that pushback there. But I mean, he's an exciting fighter. He's 4 of his last 5 fights have been through knockout. Knocked out Anthony Smith, Chris Dawkins. So he has good wins. I would have liked to see Ankalaev. I think everyone kind of thought that was next. But I'm not mad at the Roundtree. I understand why everyone's mad at it, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, and Dana did make the point in that press conference an hour ago that timing's everything in this sport. And Ankalaev agreed to the fight with Rakic. He was cool with it. Title eliminator. He wins, he gets the shot. And then Pereira wanted to fight again sooner than the winner of that fight would be ready. Roundtree was ready. So it just kind of happened. But it's just a weird thing that you go from getting suspended, taken off the International Fight Week for doping, straight to a title shot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's light heavyweight. It's a weird ass division, like we always say. And then the next fight, the co-main event, another title fight, Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. I mean, like I said last week, I don't know if we were on the air when I said it, but I would not be mad if they made this the main event of the prelims.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Juliana back in there.
I'd rather see Kayla on the co-main than either of these two. But yeah, that's true. We haven't seen Juliana since she took that whooping from Amanda Nunes, right?
Caitlin wins. She's next now.
Gotta be. She couldn't sign with the UFC and be more than 2 fights away from the title.
Yeah.
She's a big 135er, man. I was hating on Kayla. I said she wouldn't make the weight, and she made it. So no more hate from me. I'll be betting on her.
Ivalov versus Aljo's interesting because Aljo's slightly sneaking up to get a title eliminator or a title shot.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's close.
If he wins this, he might be right after Volk.
Yeah.
Do you put the winner of Lopez Ortega over the winner of this fight?
It's hard to say. I know this probably isn't fair. If Lopez wins, it's Lopez. I think if Ortega wins, you take the winner of this.
Yeah, I mean, just because we've seen Ortega get beaten by Max and Volk already, and then not Ilya yet. But dude, I just don't think. I mean, you can't deny Aljo. If he wins this fight, former champ with multiple title defenses at bantamweight, this would be his second quality win at featherweight. So, I mean, if we're gonna give Kayla the title shot after 2 fights of signing with the UFC, sure, it's the women's bantamweight division, so it's not as stacked as featherweight. But we gotta have some respect for Aljo, and these are Sugar fans talking.
Yeah, definitely.
How about Jose Aldo taking on Mario Batista on the feature, or not the feature bout of the night, but one that I am very excited for. I mean, kind of. I wish they would have given Aldo a bigger name.
I mean, Jose Aldo win me some money again, baby.
Do you have odds on that one, or are they not out yet?
I don't.
Let me see if one of my websites has some odds real quick, because I'd be curious to see what they're at for all these fights. Let's see. Okay, we got some. What do you think the odds are for Pereira Roundtree?
Pereira minus 220.
Pereira minus 410.
Oh, that's not close. Fuck.
I thought you said 320 at first, not
Oh,
220.
fuck.
How
Okay.
about Pennington? All right, Pennington minus 140. Kayla
Okay.
minus 650. What about Evil Aljo? What do you think that's at?
Aljo minus 130.
You're going to love this. This surprised me too. Evil minus 225. Aljo plus 190. And this is only on, it's not all the books yet. Only a couple have them out, but Bet Online has that. And then my bookie has Evil minus 220, Aljo plus 168.
What's Jose?
Jose's plus 120 right now.
Oh, yeah. We're firing Jose.
And then, honestly, the fight that I might be most excited for that's not on the main card. This is why I'm really mad that they put 2 girl fights on the main card, is because we've got Stephen Thompson and Joaquin Buckley on the prelims, man.
Yeah, and Kevin Hall and Roman Dialize.
Yeah. What do you like? So, do you see the odds?
No.
So we got Stephen Thompson plus 125, Buckley minus 145.
Okay.
And then we got Holland minus 155, Dolidze plus 135.
I like that number for Dolidze.
Yeah, just because we've seen Holland get wrestled and held down before.
Yeah.
I hate betting against my guy Holland.
Yeah.
Reminds me too much of myself, man.
Yeah.
And then Stephen Thompson, do you like him for plus 125, or do you think Buckley's really on a tear at welterweight?
I think Buckley is on a tear, but in a striking match, man, you can get plus money on Stephen Thompson. Hard to say no.
That's the thing. I mean, we saw Holland knock out Buckley.
Yeah.
And we saw Thompson versus Holland.
Yeah.
But Buckley, could he wrestle Thompson? Is that the question? A lot of people can.
That's always the question, yeah.
Yeah. And then moving off of that, Salt Lake City. I don't know how the Mormons did it, but they get some good fight cards every year.
Yeah.
And Cannonier versus Kyle Baralho. We've got a fighting nerd at it once again. I forgot to mention Carlos Prates is also from that gym, but I am very high on those guys for that reason, dude. They've been on a tear. Jean Silva also from there. So Cannonier coming off a loss versus Imavov, where he actually took a lot of damage, and that fight was only in June. It was the very beginning of June, so this is about a 2.5 month break for him, which I don't love. And Baralho coming off a TKO win versus Paul Craig, where he really didn't take any damage at all. I believe it was on 301, the Brazil pay-per-view. So, I mean, I love Jerry Cannonier, but just based off of all those factors, I've got to go Baralho, and Vegas agrees. They have him at minus 245.
Yeah, it's got to be Baralho. I mean, just Cannonier, you just can't bet on him at this stage. He's 40 years old. Baralho's on a tear. It's all Baralho in this. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Baralho can finish him. I don't know if he can finish him, but I think Baralho definitely gets it done.
And to be fair, we haven't seen Baralho against a great striker yet, because Paul Craig was his step up, and you're not going to say Paul Craig is a striking step up. So Cannonier will be a good test, just seeing how Baralho handles being in that fire. But based off of his teammates, how we've seen Jean Silva and Carlos Prates handle things lately. And I mean, Baralho's kind of he's the tip of the spear right now. He's the only one that's ranked. So I'm pretty confident in Baralho here. And then co-main event, Angela Hill versus Tabitha Ricci. I know you usually fire on Angela Hill fights. Do you got anything for us here?
Not betting on Angela Hill.
I know you're not fading her though.
I'll probably fade her. For sure, probably fade her. She always fucks me somehow.
I will say she's a solid announcer. I watched her on Cage Warriors San Diego. She was announcing with our guy, the Nomad. Shouts the Nomad. She's a good announcer, so I wouldn't mind to see her on a Laura Sanko path when she
Yeah.
retires. And then we've got the Ultimate Fighter finale on the feature bout, Ryan Loder versus Robert Valentin. I'm not gonna act like I've really watched much of it, so I won't give a prediction there.
Is it just one of them, or is there two?
I want to say, honestly, dude, this is the worst I've ever been on the Ultimate Fighter. It just I couldn't watch.
Yeah, it didn't do it for me this year.
I might watch after the Contender series is over and there's like nothing to watch. I might just kind of binge it like over a weekend when I'm sick or something like that.
Yeah.
But I have not gotten around to it yet. I can't lie. I've heard there were some good characters. And then I feel for Neil Magny. So in his last fight, they gave him Mike Maylot in Canada, and Magny was a giant underdog, and he was getting whooped the whole fight, and he got it done in the last minute. Maylot kind of gassed out. Magny reversed and got the TKO. And then you know how the UFC rewards Neil Magny? They give him Michael Morales.
Yeah, that's tough.
Morales, I believe he's 24 years old now.
Minus 1,000 favorite.
Yeah. This guy is legit. I've been on him since he was in the Contender series. I think he went on the Contender series when he was like 19 or 20 years old. Or maybe he was 21, but he was like the same age as me. So I always fucked with him just for that reason. Then he's just a really, really good, sharp boxer. But I mean, if Neil Magny could get him to the ground, I still think he could win one of those ugly, clinchy decision fights that Neil Magny wins, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Neil Magny plus 600 might be a little lunch money there.
Yeah. How about GM3 for plus 240 against Edmund Shabazian? You see anything there, or a GM3 by sub?
I love a GM3 by sub bet.
It's been
I'm always here for a GM3 by sub bet. 28, bro. He has 36 wins, 28 by sub. It's crazy. But Shabazian's never been sub, so hey. He's got to have the most subs wins in UFC history.
No, Oliveira.
I mean, those probably all on UFC.
Yeah,
but MMA
he's up there for sure.
Yeah.
So many fights, dude. Magny, yeah, that guy deserves it. We got Mr. Toad. I'm picking Neil Magny because he's worse than Morales in almost every way. We never said we're picking Neil Magny. We just said there might be some value for plus 600. All right, Mr. Toad.
Yeah, plus 6. He didn't think he was beating Mike Mallet either.
Yeah. Francis the Firefighter taking on Dennis Bazooka here. I hope Francis gets it done. He's a minus 140 favorite. He lost to Isaac Dolgarian, but as weird as it sounds, that loss might have aged kind of well just because Dolgarian's looked so good since then. It's my New Jersey guy. And yeah, it's about all
we gotta watch another fight night in the Apex, y'all. Apologies.
We'll get out of there soon.
Yeah, maybe not before the Contender series, but we'll get out of there.
That's tough, dude. This one, for some reason, I thought this was a city one. It's not, right?
No.
We're in the Apex. Never for one like this.
Yeah.
All right, then. Hopefully we'll see y'all either tomorrow or Thursday interviewing Shannon Clark before she fights on the Contender series next week. So stay tuned on our Instagram, YouTube post for that. And we will see y'all soon. Doses.
Sir.